Just the other day, a news crew stopped by my house to ask me several questions about this new cure for cancer. I'm here today to answer a few more questions that I know all of you have. Now, at the moment, I've been working the channels and getting it out there to some particular individuals, people like Al Gore, Stevie Wonder, even Willie Nelson. The need to south-spin your fluids has to do with our 7-year cellular replacement. That is, every 7 years, your body replaces all the H2O cells that it contains. And if you're drinking the wrong spun fluids, you're going to be replacing a little bit incorrect cells. And after you're 21, 28 years old, 35, that means your cells have replaced themselves 5 times with incorrectly spun fluids being consumed. You're going to have some type of illness or some type of problem with your physical health. The doctor's not going to be able to cure it. He's not going to be able to tell you where it came from, but all he's going to be able to do is recommend some type of drug that's going to make it so you don't feel it for the rest of the time you're walking the planet. Now, to south-spin your fluids means that you're actually giving your body just exactly what it needs to replenish its cells every 7 years. And it's like a rebuilding process. So not only does it stop cancer, it'll stop heart attack as well. Heart attack is caused from this breakdown within our physical systems.
I've got no warts. I came today.
He's got no warts.
For all of you who are healthy, well, and some of you that are even young, you might laugh at this and think that, what, I don't need this. But in just a few short years, you're going to, without a doubt. I know most of you haven't heard this part of the story yet. In the old days, once a year, the king would have auditions for magicians to come in and do a routine in order for him to decide whether or not he's going to hire them or not. Well, what they do is they'd all line up outside of his castle, and then he'd call them in one by one. And what he would do, he would pour 2 glasses of wine, like this. And then he would call the magician up and he'd say, I want you to work a magic spell over this 1 glass of wine, and then I'm going to taste it. And if it still tastes exactly the same as the other glass, meaning you didn't do anything to it, your head's next on my chopping block. But one day, after many years had went by and many heads had rolled, a magician applicant came in, and he was a little bit aged, had a long beard, and he sprinkled a little sand around the 1 glass. Then he pulled out a magic wand and waved it in the air. And then he did the strangest thing. He went, abracadabra, zalakazam, presto changeo, I'm your man. Taste your highness and see. And the king tasted that glass of wine, and it tasted sweet. And you know how most wines have that bitter bite at the end. Well, the king would hire the man, and he became the court magician. Every glass of wine the king drank from that day on, the magician would influence with his magic spell. But this was at a time before there were scientists or doctors around. So if you knew this trick, you get yourself an audience with the king, you'd have yourself a job as a magician. This has always been a closely guarded secret, and it hasn't been until this day and age that we've been able to decipher or figure out just what's going on. Now, there's some different parts of this equation which perhaps haven't been explained in detail, and so that's what I'd like to do today. When I was talking to English Simon, I tried to explain to him that south-spinning your fluids not only takes care of your cancer problem, but your heart attack, your diabetes, and a host of many, many other physical ailments. 3 fingers touching the thumb is the influencing factor when held against the open palm of your other hand. This needs to be done to all fluids before consumed, because this is where all the heart attack, all the cancer, all the diabetes, everything is coming from. I had a left kidney removed in 7th grade, and then I spent 2.5 weeks in a coma state from a brain aneurysm at about 27. So by the time I was 40, when I made this fascinating discovery, my hair's turned brown, my fingernails have turned white, just like my toenails, and I'm feeling healthier than I've ever felt in my life. I'm now 51, and I know that the spin of the fluids has made all the difference in the world. It can bring back your health and vitality at any age. Obesity has become a bigger problem than any of us want to admit. At all ages, people are gaining weight and becoming fat, and the doctors don't know why. They can't seem to help us. There are all sorts of diets, but eventually you gain the weight back. I've never liked being fat myself. I used to weigh 215 pounds. Now I'm back down to 185. And you know why? It's all about spinning your fluids. It's because your system stores its left spin electrons in water weight. Different than the people who are skinny or the athletes. They don't have this problem because they're in a different molecular structure for a body. But you people who are overweight of all ages, young, middle-aged, or old, just spin your fluids, and in a while, your pounds will drop off of you. I guarantee this. It's the best news you could hear. You don't have to exercise, you don't have to diet, you don't have to do anything. Just spin that fluid and you'll lose weight. Maybe Glenn Beck or Nancy Grace would give me a call or stuff my email. Who knows? Maybe Oprah would too. I've sent her a DVD, but she might be a little too busy with other projects. Oh well, all I can do is keep on trying. And just to answer one more question, cats and bats spin molecularly just like the insects. So when you give your cat water, don't worry about it out of the faucet. It's spun correctly. But dogs need their water influenced the same as we do, so South-spin their fluids before they drink it.
I like it.
Thank you very much for tuning us in. Have a great day, and stay tuned for part 3 of A New Cure for Cancer.